Welcome back everyone to another market update. On Philip here from BlackBull Markets. Hope you're doing well. This video I want to cover through a couple of pairs we'll be looking at now. The markets are very quiet. There's a lot of consolidation in the market. So we'll look at some key levels. So potentially looking at some setups that could happen next week or maybe on later on the middle of this week. So make sure to stick all the way through to the end of this video to see what analysis we have and what potential setups there could be for the end of this week or either next week. Also make sure to smash that like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel if you're interested in learning more about Forex and improving your current trading skills. Now, once you've hit that subscribe button, comment down below letting us know you subscribed and we'll reply to all those comments. Also, if you guys are interested in having us analyze any markets you want to have a look at, so if there's any specific charts or potential trade setups you're looking at, let us know down below in the comment section. We'll be happy to chat through those as well and maybe even feature them on our videos. Now, without further ado, guys, let's jump into the charts and see what we have. So first of all, behind me we have gold. Now, we've been keeping an eye on gold for quite some time. If you guys have watched any of our previous videos, you would have seen we were kind of looking at gold right before it tried to peak to that all-time high. We've got the all-time high on our charts, 2074 is what we're looking at. And then obviously we had that big spike to the downside, got rejected just below that and started pushing down and started to consolidate here. Now, I want to zoom in. This is the daily time frame. We've got this wick up over here, which is sort of the start of this major large consolidation. So wick at the top, which is sitting roughly just below that 1990 mark zone. And then we had, obviously, like I said, all-time highs were just fallen short. Market pushed back down, started to create a bit of a support here with some wicks here. Looking here at the 1910 mark zone is it was a sort of support zone. We saw some more support out here. And then obviously we got stuck on that previous resistance we saw back here as well. Okay, so that started to create this consolidation zone. And then we were looking for two options, right? We were looking either for, as always for traders, we're never here to predict. We're just looking at what the market provides us. We were looking for either a break to the upside to try and break those all-time highs and reach back for it, or a push to the downside. Now, the push to the downside, we were expecting it to be a little bit more quiet because we were starting to hit into a little bit of a messy traffic. So if we have a look here on our high, like zooming out a little bit, we can see we've had major support zones coming in. We have that support, first support here on the 1871 mark zone, and then obviously we have internal supports sitting here roughly on the 1830 mark zone, 1840 mark zone. Okay, so that's kind of where we're hovering right now. So when I speak about sort of support / resistance zones, I generally don't look for these extremities. So I'll quickly delete these lines for you, and then I'll kind of take you guys through what I usually talk about, what I mean by extremities if you are not familiar with the way how I analyze the markets. Okay, so I'll take this off, and I want to specifically look at this most recent section, or this previous consolidation zone that we have had right over here. Okay, so I want to have a look at this zone, and I want to kind of break it down for you guys and kind of explain my thought process behind extremities. Now, this for me is an extremity. Okay, so when I look at consolidation zones, I look at the zone where the market is more prevalent at touching it and where it's more, more consistent on hitting that support / resistance area. So we can see we do have, yes, we have this major support zone right over here / resistance zone. We had a couple of touches, obviously that major one, that big peak out, and then we had a little bit of a resistance here and some support back up over here. But other than that, we had obviously along the, back here when the market did break, we had that idea. But for me, if we have a look here at these two zones, we can already see there's a support zone out here. So currently, if we draw this line to the left, we have resistance 1, resistance 2, 3, 4. Let's pull it a bit more to the left if we can. If I can keep my lines straight. And we have 1, 2, 3. We have 5. And then right now, obviously, we've had that 6th one. So besides looking at that point, looking here at the past history, this for me is an extremity because it doesn't really conform to anything else. There was no previous history besides maybe a little bit of consolidation back here, but the majority of support or resistance in this case is being held just below the 1850 mark zone. Okay, and that's currently where we're currently hovering, just above the 1850. We're sitting at 1857 right now, okay, on gold. So that's currently the nice support we're being held. Now, how do I use this in my advantage for take profits? And similar, I do the same thing with, just a quick update, same thing here with support zones as well. We had a couple of touches here, pull it back more to the left, we had another support, some more resistance, and again more resistance. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zones where this market touched. And here, yes, we will have some extremities. If we have a look over here, we've got some extremities that do pop out. But other than that, we have our major strong support / resistance zone. Now this is on the daily time frame. Okay, now how do I use these areas to trade? Let's have a quick look. So I'm going to go ahead and pop this zone right over here that I had. Now let's have a look at the trade setups we were looking at on gold, right? We were looking at breaks below the support/resistance zone, all right? We had a couple of, gold has been fairly messy, I'll give you guys that, so it has been fairly difficult to trade. We had our first potential re-entry over here. Obviously, gold decided to not be so kind to us. Right here for me, there's no real entry. This candle structure is way too large. You missed a lot of the move structure, so nothing too major, okay? And obviously, gold then decided to pull back. But once we've had this rejection over here, and I'll explain a bit more about why gold is acting like this, all right? But we can see beautiful rejection. Zoom it in a bit. Okay, we can see this nice big candle rejection, big close, right? So right there was a nice little entry, stop loss above that wick, obviously, and there's our take profit on that internal zone, all right? We can see gold did struggle a bit to come down, so you should just need a bit of patience, but eventually would have hit your take profit. Okay, now when I spoke about also traffic to the left when gold is moving back in, I would have preferred to move to the upside, is because that traffic has caused all this, right? Because there is so much resistance on that side of the chart, on the left side of the chart, the market will always, you guys will always struggle to reach your target. So if you are trading back into traffic, if you are going to take a trade like that, just keep in mind you need to be a little bit more patient with your trade. Let it play out. Okay, you've tested your strategy. Hopefully you've tested your strategy over a certain time period and you know it works. Okay, so trading is not a tight trade by trade basis, but rather a long-term perspective, because you know over the long-term time frame, if you have correct risk management, if you have right risk-reward ratios, and you're able to take your trade without hesitation, without doubt, and without fear of missing out, okay, you should in the long run be a good trader. Okay, so just give that trade a bit of patience if you are trading back into a messy market. Or if you don't want to take the trade, just leave it, all right? If you're scared about the traffic and you're scared the traffic is going to maybe stop you out and you might not get a re-entry, that's fine, leave it. If traffic is a reason, or if it's something in your strategy, trading back into consolidation, like me, I don't like trading into consolidation, I just leave the trade. Even if it does run back to that support, that's perfectly fine. Because the nice thing about consolidation is, if we have consolidation, right, we can always trade breakouts of that consolidation zone, and then we're actually going to be trading into clean traffic, all right? So don't worry about this. And remember, guys, you don't have to trade every single day. You don't have to trade every single day. You can trade every now and then, or every, you don't, trading, sometimes not taking a trade is the best thing to do, and it's a skill, all right? Not trading is a skill as well, because you need to be able to sit in your hands and not be greedy. All right, now let's move on to the next chart. We've spoken about this quite a lot. Euro Swiss franc, I believe, was the one I'm looking at. Yes, Euro Swiss franc. I want to show you guys here on the 4-hourly time frame. Okay, now there's no major support / resistance zones that we can really play off. Now, you guys do know I'm a very big fan of trading breaks and retests, okay, but sometimes we don't always get this retest, and let's have a look at how we can maybe adapt this. So currently right now, Euro Swiss franc 4-hourly time frame, we've got a messy uptrend. Okay, we can see it's really been struggling. Euro Swiss franc is not really a pair that decides it wants to move cleanly. Recently we've had some clean moves in the past, but recently this leg to the upside has been fairly messy. Okay, if we are looking at potentially some Elliott wave, we could see that maybe if this wave is big enough, we can see it's, if you guys are familiar with Elliott wave, we do have our waves 1, potentially wave 1, wave 2, and we can see our wave 3 is just 100%, a little bit bigger than our wave 1. Okay, so as long as we don't come back into this wave 1 territory, that could be a good sign. This could be a potential wave 4. We could stay a little bit longer in here, depending on what sort of structure it is, whether it's a triangle or a flat. We had a fairly sharp correction for wave 2. And knowing that wave 3 is about the same size as wave 1, we might have an extended fifth wave, and that fifth wave could be very nice and a very strong move to the upside, or move in the direction of the trend like we saw previously. All right. Now onto basic technical analysis. Let's have a quick look at, if we don't have support and resistance, how we can trade this. I'll pop it over to the 1-hour time frame, and we can actually start to see a nice little flag forming here. All right, this is another chart or another tool we can use if we don't have any support / resistance zones. Now, we do have a little bit of something here showing up. We've got some zones coming up, but there's nothing really clear. We've been a bit messy around here. We can see we are starting to reject it slowly, trying to turn it around, but there's no major support strategies, resistance zones that kind of match the scale of this pullback, right? If we look at the scale, we can see previous pullbacks we had over here, similar sort of structures. Obviously this one's a bit more sideways, but we're pretty much trading right into these consolidation zones, which were fairly easy to play, all right? And other sort of, other sort of corrections in this market, we saw nice breakouts, or sorry, nice retests, okay? But this one, not so much. So let's go back again to the hourly, and we can actually start using other methods of analysis. So this is a nice flag, okay? Now the one thing we have to keep in mind, just because it's a flag doesn't mean I'm going to take a buy. I'm not going to just take a, let's zoom it in a bit. I'll put it on the, zoom it in a little bit. I'm not just going to take a buy right over here and then, or wherever it rejects and then hope that it's going to break out now. Okay, it's not going to work because this thing could still very well, we are technically speaking in, it's a bit of a messy one, but we are in a downwards channel, okay? And we know, if you guys do watch our videos, we don't like to trade against the channel, because if we do decide to trade against the channel, the longer this market stays, so let's say for example we're going to trade against it, okay, not as straight as I can, but the longer we stay in this channel, right, the smaller our take profit target becomes, okay? Even if we do have a nice stop loss below our entry zone, if this chart decides to stick to the channel, we will eventually get stopped out, even if it's following the technical rules, okay, or guidelines. So what we're going to wait for is, personally, if we have a look at these structures, we have internal support / resistance areas. We have some up over here as well, and obviously the structure over here. So if we break here right now, we could potentially be looking for another nice retest on that channel, and then we can start looking to go to the upside, all right? Or even if you guys want to trade the break, right, break of the channel, then you can put your stop loss below here, because we've got this, this traffic in the way, this consolidation zone here in the way that can potentially help us stop it. So if we get a break and a retest of that zone, it could be a nice place to look up to go to. Okay, so that could be very nice. Euro Swiss franc, nice little flag. I'm going to say flag on the, should we say 4 hourly or hourly? Yeah, we'll say flag on the hourly time frame. You guys can see there, very nice little setup. Let's wait and see what does happen. Keep in mind, we need to wait for that breakout or any sort of confirmation, because currently we have lower lows and potential, and we also have lower highs, okay? So we are, yes, technically this move right over here, this initial lower high and this initial lower low over here does indicate a trend reversal, okay? So just keep that in mind. We could play anything along the lines of, even if the market does decide to come back down, or continue to play inside of this channel. Okay, so there are a couple options on this very nice potential trades, Euro Swiss franc. Have a look at Euro USD real quick as well. Euro USD is a little bit ugly. We are stuck in a major consolidation zone. We had a beautiful push to the downside starting on the 22nd of April. Nice little move to the downside. This is the 4 hourly term time frame. But currently, guys, really, personally speaking, I know this is a very high traded pair and people like to trade this pair. If you're going to be swing trading this, there's not much, okay? Personally, I'll wait for a breakout. Let's have a look on the higher term time frames. Daily, nothing. Weekly, we've broken past this high. We've been speaking, this low. We've been speaking about this for quite some time. That weekly low that we're looking to break. Okay, we did break it, and we're currently sitting below it. So chances are, the odds are, we could still be looking for further legs to the downside, but the upside is not a definite decline. Okay, if the market does break to the upside, we obviously have to be aware, because we're trading into some pretty strong resistances coming up, okay, big consolidation zones that the market is going to be looking at playing in. All right, so we need to keep that in mind, that we could hit some traffic as we do decide to go up. So preferably we'd like to see some breaks below to the downside would be ideal, but we can't just shut down completely. We can't be biased or one-minded in trading, okay? The market will teach us a lesson very quickly. You cannot be single-minded. You have to just follow what it gives us, okay? So currently, Euro USD, nothing much, bit of consolidation. Let's wait for a breakout. It is absolutely a very messy one. Even if you want to look on the lower term time frames, guys, it might look, in the big picture, if you stand back, it might look, okay, yes, we're going from zone to zone, But guys, look at the market structure. I think the best way to do this probably will be to have it on I want to see if, let's have a look at a line chart, okay? Actually, I'll probably just draw it, okay? So this is what you'll be looking at. This is the movement that we are looking at. Okay, yes, it does eventually reach it, but you have to sit through all that before the charts do decide to play out in your favor, okay? So even on the lower term time frames, guys, Euro USD is very ugly, all right? So let's wait for, personally, I'm going to wait for a breakout and see what's up. Okay, GBP, JPY, another very fond pair. Let's have a look here on the 4-hourly term time frame. This does look, is this a major zone that I've drawn? Yes, we are starting to do a beautiful little break and retest. I kind of like the structure here as well. We have a bit of an ABC, so Elliott Wave is starting to play out fairly nicely. Let's have a quick look. So if you guys are familiar with Elliott Wave, quick little recap: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, ABC for a correction, and then again 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Obviously, there's a lot more into it. We actually made an entire series on Elliott Wave, guys. So if you want to go check that out, it's on our YouTube channel. It's the Elliott Wave playlist. So go check it out. We did an entire full breakdown. I showed the basics of Elliott Wave, how we use it in trading, and even if you struggle to count Elliott Wave, I did a whole sort of pack of indicators that I put on to help you count the Elliott Wave. Now, guys, don't rely on your indicators. Okay, use the technical analysis first, and then we can use the indicators for confirmations or anything like that. So go check that out, guys. It's a full beginning from the basics to the most advanced of Elliott Wave. I did study Elliott Wave for 2 years. I've got a degree in it, so go check it out. Okay, so the structure we have right here. Okay, I can instantly see, obviously we've moved to the upside, and from what it seems to look like, we have a beautiful little ABC correction here, and we're sitting now on that support, 158,430. Nice psychological level, okay? Let's go back to let's zoom it out a little bit again. I want to show you guys, so beautiful support/resistance zone, especially here we can see very nicely on the daily time frame. We could look at dipping a little bit further into it. We haven't quite reached the complete, the actual targets of it. So these are the zones. We can see if we zoom in a bit, we haven't fully reached it yet. So chances are we might dip in a little bit further. There's still a lot of strength to the downside. There's been no confirmation whatsoever that this market, in my opinion, that this market's ready to turn around or ready to give us any sort of movement to the opposite direction like we had over here. We can see here on the upside, we have internal support/resistance. We have this nice structure over here, this nice resistance. Then we have that nice engulfing candle. Closed that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 candles. Okay, beautiful engulfing candle. There was a nice little entry, obviously, to the top, and then we can, potentially have our targets down here at the bottom. But for now, for this trend reversal, potential trend reversal, I personally would like to see the market dip a little bit deeper into that zone, maybe even go as far to the bottom of the zone, right, before we start to see any sort of confirmation. We want to have a quick look here at the weekly time frame. Almost uncharted. Let's jump over to the monthly. We can see we do have beautiful, clean charts, clean candles going to the upside, right? We are struggling, yes, but let's see where this market does take us, okay? For now, I'm going to wait for that rejection. So like I said, everything's kind of sitting in zones, sitting and waiting. Last pair I do want to look at is the US30, which is falling off a cliff at this stage, okay? Now, guys, I always speak about this US30 or the Dow Jones. Okay, the one thing we need to keep in mind about indices, guys, is the growth is slow and steady, but the fall or the declines are quick and fearful, right? Because that's actually what drives it, right? You have to try and think of this as, let's call it, if you have heard the saying, it's a lifetime to build a reputation and it takes a second to break it. Which is similar with charts, right? It takes a lifetime to build this confidence. We see it here, a lifetime to build confidence, and then that all gets taken away within the blink of an eye, right? Because the reason is, guys, people slowly build confidence into this. People slowly investing, putting money into it as they feel more safe. But when they run away quick. They don't go, oh, I'll take a loss here, I'll take a little bit bigger loss here, I'll take a little bit bigger loss here. No, everyone goes, I don't want to take a loss. I'm going to close my positions, everything. And there we have it. Obviously, this was when COVID first kind of really hit the world. we kind of saw this big drop. We did have a bit of a V-shaped recovery, guys. We spoke about this a very long time ago. If you want to have a look at our YouTube videos, myself and 2 other colleagues, we spoke about this V-shape, or 3 other colleagues, I believe. We spoke about this V-shaped recovery, which it could have been an option, and we did have this very beautiful, not as strong, but there was nonetheless a fairly strong, recovery in this Dow Jones. But here we are again, starting to go on a decline. Now, yes, this is the weekly term time frame, so I'll show you guys a little bit of the lower term time frame as well. But targets over the long term, guys, is I'm looking at coming to this just below that 30,000 mark zone. And obviously, if we can, because that is a potential extremity, we are seeing strong support coming here to I would say to 26,000 mark zone as well. Okay, so let's jump it down to our lower term time frames. It's fairly messy. It's struggling. We have seen a lot of fear in here. Now people are starting to become a little bit uncertain. So right now, guys, let's have a look. If we do understand the market could potentially be going to the downside, I see a potential, if my eyes are doing okay, we do have a potential sort of channel structure here playing out. Okay, this is the hourly term time frame. I want to zoom it out just a little bit so we can see. Right, so technicals playing out nicely. We could potentially be waiting for, another bounce on this channel. Right, if we can come up again for a nice little bounce to drop back down, which will be very nice because it is actually close to that support or / resistance zone. All right, so markets are messy, guys, but there is opportunity to come. Don't take a trade if your signal is not there, if your confirmation isn't there, guys. That's the whole key about being a successful trader, okay? Don't be scared when your entry is there to take the trade, but don't take a trade if your entry is not there, which is fear of missing out, okay? We've done a podcast on fear of missing out. We've done a lot of work on that, so we're looking to release it hopefully next week, so make sure to keep an eye out on the BlackBull Market Spotify, okay? There are nice, awesome podcasts coming out. We did a podcast versus long-term investing versus trading. We spoke about how we manage our risks and how we, handle positions and all those different comparisons. So it's very, very, very insightful, guys. Professional traders, professional investors having a chat out and discussing their strategies, guys. So make sure to keep an eye out for that podcast to come. Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you did like it, like I said, smash that thumbs up button, guys. Subscribe to the channel if you're interested in learning more about trading and improving your current trading skills. Guys, from us here at BlackBull Markets, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned. Trade safe.